Hi, again, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here. I wish my conditions were a little bit better, so that my lighting could be a little different. You could see it clear, but it's not. I have what I have, but the most important thing to me is the message. And so, even under these crying situations, crying conditions, to me, the message is just as important as ever. And so I try to come here and take my time to share with you. I wanted to talk to you about a house divided is lost. A house divided is lost. You've heard the expression, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And when I was thinking on the subject matter, it was to the degree that a house divided is lost. A house divided is lost. Think about that for a moment. Can you imagine everybody in the house and it's more than one? Or it could just be two, or it could be 21 or more. And everybody doing their own thing. Can you imagine what kind of chaos takes place there? Well, I'm reminded also when I think about that subject, I think about various places where it might be found at. And one of the first places that I thought of was heaven, because somewhere I heard that heaven, now, some people consider heaven a location, an address, a place. Some people consider heaven as a condition, a state of experience. And so, whatever you might think heaven is, there was a problem as far as God connection, according to the messages that have been handed down biblically. And that was that heaven had no problem. Everything was fine with heaven until corruption set in. Now, corruption has no place in heaven, and that was evidenced by the fact that it was kicked out of heaven. And so, in order for heaven to remain, corruption had to go. So, we even have an experience there where a house divided was not allowed to stand, and it did not stand under those conditions. We talk about God and man. Just think about that for a moment. It's just like heaven. God made man according to the scriptures story and gave man rules and regulations about that fine, wonderful life, maintenance, and et cetera, et cetera, and gave him the instructions of how to maintain it and how not to violate it. And yet, the same thing as took place in heaven, corruption came amongst mankind, even right there with Adam and Eve. Can you imagine what it must have been like for Adam and Eve to be going from day to day, living a life perhaps as they imagined it to be, only to find out that there was an option? You could try something else. You do have a choice. You don't have to accept this. Can you imagine what kind of hell they must have been going through from day to day? And they couldn't fight it. They threw in the towel and violated the rule just like in heaven. And now God and man separated because man chose to try a different way. And by choosing to try that different way, not only were they separated from God, but they were separated from one another. They were at odds with one another. And just as they were separated from God, now the evidence of their separation from one another is in their children. Now we got the separation from parents and children. And the evidence here is what happened to Cain and Abel. But then we can assess that this thing goes on and on and on. But if it is to change, it will change because of the children. It will change because of the children. And the children will be trying new stuff. New stuff. You won't have new ideas, should I say, young generation bringing something new to us, but nothing but a return of guidance from old folk, the old stories. I really can't think about how exactly that thing was given to me when I first heard it. But it was just like if it's going to be a new world created by new people, thus children, it's going to be new ideas, new ideas. I mean, I might have had some ideas all my life, and you might have had some ideas all your life, but look at my hair. Our ideas got us right here, nowhere where people are satisfied. And if the children are going to take us someplace else where people will be satisfied, it will be because they use new ideas and not this old stuff that we of yesterday have brought us. Not to knock it. Now it got us here, but we can't. Maybe we shouldn't be bragging too much. You see, there was this thing that gives us evidence that what I've been saying to you is true. When we think about whites, what is it that keeps us so divided? What is it that makes us so divided? Well, obviously our focus is not God. Obviously our focus is not what God has designed.